All right, everybody, officially welcome to our Time Management for a Healthy Life session. This is part of our Be Your Best Health Education series. We are offering one health education and wellness topic a month that we highlight during these monthly Lunch and Learn seminars. And today, like I said, we're focusing on time management. But we have a whole rest of the year's worth of topics to cover. Talking about what we have next month, talking about wellness on the go, processed foods, picking healthy proteins, all of that fun stuff. So please, you're joining us for this one, but continue on our journey for your Be Your Best Health Education series. My name is Kayla. I am a team member here at the Health Promotion Department at Group Health Cooperative Eau Claire. And I also just wanted to say, too, I know that it is lunchtime. And if you are hungry, please eat. During this session, your cameras are disabled. So you don't have to worry about seeing anybody eat or having anybody see you eat. But if you do have questions, the microphone is enabled. So if you just want to unmute yourself, you certainly can. I will definitely save time for questions at the end of the presentation. And if you have questions, you can also put them in the chat feature here and we can address them at the end. I might not see them right away, but I will definitely see them at the end and I can address any questions. And just like any other presentations here, if you have any specific questions that you don't want to ask in front of a large group, I will share my contact information at the end and you can ask me any question and I can help you get the guidance that you need and get those questions answered for you. So let's get started, shall we? Like I said, today we're talking about time management for a healthy life. And I just want to take a second before we even talk about today's topics and everything, just to talk about the importance of time management in itself. So as I talk about some concepts and some strategies and different things today here, I'm trying to share this information to you today in the light of health and wellness, but know that this applies in really any aspect of our life, health and wellness, home life, work life, anywhere that you have time, which we all are on the clock, right? We can manage our time effectively, and this helps everything. Okay, so like I said, we're really targeting health and wellness here, but know that that also blends into other parts of our life because our life is as a whole, we have all these tasks that we have to do, and we just have to manage our time effectively to be a healthy and well person. So, just time management in general, it helps us have more time or allot time for all of our tasks in life, our hobbies, our self care, all of that. That helps us be a healthy, well human being. And then it also helps us, no matter what avenue you're practicing time management in, it helps us lower our stress levels and just be more prepared in general. And just as you're embarking on this, just focusing on time management, it's actually a skill that we need to practice and can be developed over time. It's not something that we are going to be able to exit this presentation and just go jump in and get right to it. It's something that we're going to need to practice, and we're also going to need to pivot a little bit and be adaptable because things change in life, and it's just something that we need to build on as a skill. All right, I'm off my soapbox now. Now we'll get into the rest of the agenda items for today. So today we are going to talk about just briefly some of the benefits of time management, the ones that I didn't talk about before. And we're going to get into some very specific strategies for time management and implementing that into your life. And then we'll just end with some practical tips for how to incorporate that into your life and how to start working on some of those little things. So we'll dive into the benefits. And we have this kind of split out into two main avenues. One is more mental health related, and then one is more physical health related. But those are all under the umbrella of a nice, well human being, good quality of life. We want to make sure that everybody is happy and healthy. So when it comes to reducing our stress and improving our mental health, what we really are focusing on is when it comes to managing our time efficiently and effectively, we significantly reduce our stress levels, and it really provides us with our own sense of control. It reduces our feelings of being overwhelmed, and it just ensures that we have our essential tasks that we need to do on a daily basis, that they're being completed. It provides us some structure and routine, helping us or having us know what to expect each day definitely reduces our uncertainty and the stress that comes with it. It helps us improve our focus and concentration, and allocating specific time blocks for tasks helps maintain focus and prevents stress from multitasking and different things like that. It prevents overcommitment by helping us prioritize our tasks and scheduling tasks. We can avoid taking on too many commitments, and which those things can lead to stress and burnout. And then it just helps us ensure our own time for self-care. So that's kind of the mental health piece of it. Now we'll talk about the physical health benefits as well. Using time management can significantly enhance our ability to maintain our healthy lifestyle behaviors like regular physical activity and healthy nutrition. And prioritizing our physical activity and healthy eating and scheduling time for those things, like your exercise that you might do in the beginning of the day or during the workday, or meal planning, or planning healthy snacks into your schedule, it helps us reduce our risk for chronic diseases like type 2 diabetes and heart disease and stroke and certain cancers. Helps us with our weight management, which when we have a healthy weight and are at a good body fat percentage, that helps us decrease our risk for number one there above two, reduces our risk for those chronic diseases. It helps us keep our bones, muscles, not just bones and muscles, but skin and teeth and all of our tissues, our body just strong and healthy. It also helps us enhance our immune system and improve our sleep quality, which also helps with a good quality of life. And then back to like that overarching thing, like I said, with the quality of life, it also improves our mental health as well. So we'll go into that. Enough about the benefits here. We're going to talk about some specific strategies now. One thing that I will say, just so we can keep setting this tone for what we're talking about today, though it applies to all of our things in life, right? We're talking about health and wellness here today. So when I talk about these different strategies, they can apply everywhere else, but we're talking about health. So I'm going to help you prioritize one thing here really quick before we get started. The time you need for your health is a non-negotiable task. So when we're thinking about these different strategies and techniques, try to keep that as one of those high priority items and something that you're going to want to try and schedule in on a regular basis and build into these strategies and techniques that we're talking about. So let's talk about those strategies. Number one is just to make sure that you're setting clear goals. Having a goal is just a powerful strategy because it provides us with direction and motivation and a framework for helping us prioritize our tasks. If we don't know what we're trying to accomplish, we are going to be kind of like willy-nilly. We don't really have a path that we're trying to follow. And having a goal, something that we know that we want to achieve, some kind of target that we're trying to get to, that's going to help us set that path and lead us in the right direction. And then set us up for the rest of these strategies too. So when I talk about this as number one, it's really knowing what you want to accomplish. And then that helps the rest of these techniques and strategies that we're going to talk about guide us to that goal. And when I talk about goals, I might mean big, broad goals, like trying to be better at time management or trying to run a half marathon or trying to exercise 5 days a week or trying to do something that kind of big, broad goal. But then I also mean little tiny goals, like how are we going to do that? Very specific things, or how are we going to accomplish that big goal? Like it might mean that I to incorporate physical activity. Maybe I'm not doing anything right now, but it might mean that on a regular basis, I need to start at least walking to my mailbox and back by the end of the day, or adding in specific times for physical activity or stress management or nutrition, whatever those little pieces are. Second one is prioritization, effective prioritization. There's actually a variety of different prioritization techniques, but I'm going to share two with you today. So this first one is looking at what we want to accomplish, thinking about all of the things that we have to do in a day, all of our tasks that we need to accomplish. And some of them are more important than others. And some can actually just be like kind of pushed away or delegated and given to somebody else. So actually taking the time to be aware of what those tasks are is really important and a really helpful time management strategy. So in the beginning of every day or the night before or in your week ahead, make a list of all of your tasks and use one of these strategies to help you figure out where we should put them and how we should tackle that. So this first one is actually called the Eisenhower matrix. And it's just a nice visual representation of how we can look at prioritizing. So using an actual like grid, you can draw it out on a piece of paper or put it into your computer, something like that. We want to identify what those tasks are that are urgent and important. Those are the ones that we need to do right away. The ones that are important but not super urgent, we need to make sure that we're making time for those and scheduling those in to our day. And then we have our urgent but not important tasks. So those are maybe ones that we can set aside for another time or have in like the back burner kind of thing, that we know what those tasks are, but we'll get to them later. We don't need to schedule them quite yet. We don't need to do them now, certainly. Or we can delegate them and give them to somebody else if it's something that you don't need to do personally. And then our fourth quadrant here, neither urgent nor important. So those things that add no value to you, we can put in that category. And maybe those are kind of like nice to have things or something that we might just be able to erase completely and not do or delegate as well. Okay, so that's one visual representation. Another one, again, listing out all of your tasks. So having that mindset to sit down and write out all of the things that you need to do so you can see what you have to do, is the ABCDE method. Could start singing the alphabet here. But this one is very similar in that you are, again, putting a visual representation on how we're going to maybe rank our tasks that we have. So it could be that whole big task list that you make, and then it's simply putting an A, a B, a C, a D, or an E at the end of it, or by it, or categorizing it in such a way. So A, those are our more important tasks. They are the things that need to be done, and they have serious consequences if not completed. So this could be like, oh, I just had an addition in here. Sorry, I got interrupted there. So back to A, most important tasks. So this could be, examples of this could be like in a work setting, meeting a crucial deadline or being prepared for a big presentation, something like that. But what did I say earlier about our health and our wellness? This is a non-negotiable task. So something that we need to make sure that we add in those healthy lifestyle behaviors, time for physical activity, time for nutrition, time for stress management, and things like that. So these are the things that we definitely want to do first. B, those are our important tasks, right? They're important, but not as critical as those A tasks, and they have minor consequences if they're not completed on time. So this could be maybe it's a meeting that you don't necessarily have to attend, or maybe there's a task that can wait until the end of the week rather than completing it right now. So you make time for those A tasks, and those can be completed. Then C, it's those nice to do tasks. They're nice to do, but they don't have real consequences if they're left undone. They're more of like a convenience rather than a necessity. So this could be like organizing your desk, or reading non-essential news, or attending optional events, just different things like that. And when we come to prioritization, we just definitely want to make sure that our A and B tasks, those are done. And then we complete first, our A and B tasks are done first. And then when we have spare time, that's when we can complete our C tasks. The D task, D for delegate. These are tasks that should be done, but could be done by someone else. So they don't necessarily require your own personal involvement. So they could be things that you could shift to somebody else. So an example of, maybe some household chores could be picked up by somebody in your family if you have a family member there that's living with you, or a roommate or something like that. Maybe you feel like it's, we know that the lawn needs to be mowed, but who's all capable of mowing the lawn? Is that something that you have to do? If it's not something that you absolutely have to do, then you can see if you can delegate that to somebody else. And I'm going to talk about delegation a little bit later here, because some empowerment and trust are really important pieces of that. So that it has its own category in terms of strategies. E is eliminate. So things that we don't need to do. They're not important. They don't contribute to our goals. And they're often time wasters. And that key phrase is going to be something that we're going to talk about in a little while as well, time wasters. So this could be like things like excessive social media use, unnecessary meetings, trivial interruptions, things that just don't add value to our day. So do your best to eliminate these things. They take up our time and they take up our brain space. So kick them out, right? All right, so that's about prioritization. There's obviously, like I said before, a lot of different strategies that you can use, but here, these are just two simple, very visual ideas on how you can prioritize your tasks on a day-to-day basis. The next strategy is making sure that you create a schedule. Making time to plan your day, whether that is you're going to plan the day the night before, or it's the first thing you do in the morning, and then just making sure that you're allocating specific slots or specific times for specific tasks. And then that just kind of lends itself to another concept of time blocking. So if you have never tried this before, I encourage you to try the method of time blocking. And that's where you have a set like schedule. You can look at all of the hours in the day that you have as being awake. Okay. And you have scheduled things for every part of that waking moment. So an example, or that your waking hours. So an example here on the screen is having, your specific wake up routine, what time you're going to wake up for the day, what you're going to do next, and having that all of your time basically allotted for specific things. And then even getting as detailed as doing specific tasks or what it might be, you might be doing for work, that sort of thing. So you know and have a plan and can predict, and you have maybe a routine that you can follow. So there's no question as to what should I be doing right now. It's something that's all planned out and ready to go. Actually, at the end of this session, we'll be able to send out just a nice little demonstration or just a helpful time blocking sheet. So you'll be able to do it yourself. You can get colorful like on the screen here. You can take some markers and color code everything and block out your time. But I can send that out as just a resource to help you with your time blocking endeavors. Okay, the next strategy. This one's really hard, especially since we got these computers and all these Teams meetings and virtual meetings and all of these things, avoiding multitasking, because it's really easy to do other things while we're doing other things, and we think that we're being more efficient, but it turns out we probably aren't, and it could be that we could add more stress. So the reason that we want to try and avoid multitasking when we can, it helps us focus on one task at a time. And when we concentrate on one task at a time, it improves our quality in what we are trying to accomplish and our efficiency. Because if you think about, even in just like a meeting like this, where if we're not just focusing on this, say we're answering emails or we're also working on another task or something like that, how many times whatever the presenter could be saying is grabbing your attention, and you're context switching and you're moving back and forth from different ideas and different thought processes. It's kind of hard to do, and it helps us not really fully engage in that situation and can hurt our quality and efficiency. Minimizing distractions is an easier way to help with this multitasking thing, but doing your best to limit interruptions by, setting certain boundaries. Maybe it could be closing your door so you don't get like actual personal interruptions, or like creating a dedicated workspace, but also it could be turning off unneeded notifications, maybe silencing your phone for a little bit so you can really focus on one thing, not answering or turning off your email notifications while you're exercising so you don't get derailed from your goals while you're doing your physical activities and things like that. Okay. So multitasking, it's a tricky one in this day and age. We want to try and do as much as we can in a certain time, but it's better if we focus on one thing at a time. All right, delegation. I promised I would talk about delegation a little bit more, but really trying to find opportunities to delegate tasks when it's possible and when it is realistic to be able to do so. Obviously, if there are things that you personally need to do, then you need to do them. Like you can't delegate eating healthy to somebody else. Like that's something that you need to do, right? But you could delegate who shops for you. You know, if you don't have time or you're trying to use your time effectively, maybe you could do a grocery order pickup or do a grocery delivery, different options like that. And actually, excuse me, that's actually what the visualization here on the picture of the slide is just all the different time slots that are available at a local grocery store to be able to do a pickup order for groceries today, I guess, looks like. So when it comes to delegating tasks, we want to identify obviously those tasks that we can delegate. And that just helps you free up your time for more critical activities. Think of the time that in the example, excuse me, in the example of doing a grocery order pickup instead of actually going to the grocery store. You know, when I go to the grocery store, I like to sit and I look at all of the different things and all of the options. But it's really quick for me to just order my regular recurring items, my routine items, then go to the store and pick it up. And then maybe I have some time for a walk, or I have some time to read for stress management, or I have a little bit more time for myself back into the day. Now, trust and empower. So when it comes to owning our tasks, right? We have things that we really feel like we own and are responsible for. So if there's a task that you want to delegate, you just have to really make sure that you put the trust and empower your friends and family and colleagues or whatever kind of outsourcing resource you're using to handle those delegated tasks effectively. And just kind of like as a visual representation, take that task, take it out of your brain, put it into somebody else, and just trust that they're going to be able to do it, because then that will help with the stress management aspect of doing that. Okay. Some other examples of outsourcing, I guess, delegating that aren't pushing other tasks onto family members, friends, colleagues, different things like that could be, hiring somebody to come in and clean a little bit of your home on a regular basis, or in the example I said, grocery order or delivery. Those are kind of more easy things that we could delegate. Finding somebody to mow your lawn. Maybe you have somebody in the neighborhood that's looking to get some experience mowing lawns or something like that, taking care of your yard. Finding those different opportunities. So then you can have more time for yourself. And as promised, we'll talk about time wasters. So identifying and trying to manage the time and set boundaries around these things that might be consuming our time that don't add value to our lives. Okay. So what we want to do with those is, yes, be aware of them. Obviously, some of these things might be something that is, we enjoy doing it. So it may be some form of entertainment or something like that. But setting boundaries around those things and around those non-productive activities, just so you are ensuring that you are spending more time on more meaningful tasks. So some common time wasters are social media. It's good in keeping us in connection and networking with people and ourselves. But sometimes we've all kind of, I shouldn't assume here, but it's easy to get sucked into scrolling through those social media sites and going into a deep dive. And then suddenly you had like 5 minutes to spare, and then you've spent like a whole hour on scrolling and going through all of those pictures and videos and all of that stuff. So setting boundaries around that. Some other common time wasters, though, are like our digital distractions, like email notifications and texts and things like that. And while those are important, we want to try and control how often we're getting distracted. That's back to that multitasking piece, right? So maybe setting boundaries around when you're going to check email or when you're going to check your text messages and things like that. Not letting those digital distractions intrude on your time that you're trying to allot to somebody else. Procrastination is another time waster. Some people thrive on a tight deadline and things like that, or waiting to the last minute. But if you're a true procrastinator, sometimes that really just takes up so much more of your time, when it could have been a task that was like easy and you could have gotten it done nice and quick. Poor planning or not having a plan is another time waster, because then you suddenly get to whatever you need to do, and we didn't have a plan to achieve whatever task it's going to be. So then you have to kind of plan while you should be doing that task. So having a time for a plan ahead for that task is also really important. Like I said, trying to multitask, that was one that we hit on before. Perfectionism. It is 100% okay to be very detail oriented and want things to be satisfactory and exceptional and all of that. But if we add too much time to completing something that is done and good enough, then we could be adding to some of that. We could be wasting some time with that as well. So perfectionism is not always bad, but it can be to a point, right? Indecision, not being able to just kind of make a quick decision in a respectful way, in a way that we need to be able to make them effectively. But if we sit and hem and haw on something for a really long time, then that can waste our time too. And then clutter, if we're disorganized, if we don't know where our things are and how to find them easily, that can also take time too, because you're not able to just go right to that thing that you need to find. Maybe in the example of physical activity, maybe you're wanting to do a resistance band workout, but gosh, I don't remember where I put my resistance bands and I don't know where they are, and they're in the bottom of a drawer that you have to move a whole bunch of stuff around to get to. So having some good organization, decluttering your space so you know where things are and can access them easily. All right. So I encourage you, this is a good exercise. What of these points here, what are some common time wasters that you have? And then how can you set boundaries around making sure that your time is spent on more meaningful tasks, and maybe kind of winning down on some of these common time wasters here? All right, that's what we have for our strategies. Now we have our practical tips for incorporating time management into our life. And so nothing groundbreaking here, right? But it's just important that we kind of know how to approach this. So start small. I gave you, what was it, 6 different strategies on how to incorporate time management, or just time management practices. But we should probably only start with 1 or 2. Just try to really think about how we can create habits and good healthy behaviors around some of that stuff. Simplify, keep it simple. I think that's really important to make sure that we do, because if it's not simple, we're not going to be able to be as successful as if we make it really complicated. Obviously, our brains like simple things. We want to be efficient. We're efficient beings, right? Set boundaries to protect your time, especially for those healthy activities, right? Learn to say no. And that's a really hard and tricky thing to do. It's really easy for us to add things and tasks onto our daily lives because we want to be helpful, or we want to do something, but we just have to understand how much we can actually handle, and learn how to say no, or we have to remove something in order before we can let something else in. And then just reflect and adjust. Regularly inspect your time management practices and make necessary adjustments along the way. Life is going to throw a lot of different things at us, and we just have to adjust and be prepared to be able to be agile and move as we need to. Okay. So we talked about some strategies. We talked about the benefits, and we talked about some simple tips for incorporating time management into our daily life. I'm going to leave you with one last little tidbit. And in terms of time management, or whatever we need to do, whenever we need to do something to make something happen, those that are more successful with healthy lifestyle behaviors, or insert whatever you are trying to accomplish here, they make time for them rather than finding time for them to complete. So it's important that we know that we only have so many hours in a day, and we have to make the time and schedule that time to do things. Otherwise, they just are going to get pushed to the side. All right. I'll leave this up here. I want you to, like I said in the beginning, please continue to join us on our Be Your Best Health Education series. We have a variety of other topics that we'll be presenting throughout the year. We also have a lot of other variety of services that we promote on a regular basis, on a weekly basis. Mindful Monday, Fitness in a Flash, Food in a Flash. We have our health coaching sessions and other lab services. So if you're interested in any of those, please contact me. And I can help you get the information and the help that you need to get there. Otherwise, I will open it up now for questions. If anybody has any questions, please, you can unmute your microphone or pop them in the chat and we can address them here. Or like I said earlier in the presentation, if you have anything that you want to ask just individually, you can email me too. My email is down here.